What's going on YouTube? So when it comes to big family transportation, there's no bigger name in the industry than the Chevy Suburban. And I'm standing next to the refreshed 2025 version. But not just any of the trim levels. We have one of the more special trim levels. This is the RST trim level. This is kind of a more performance-oriented and athletic-looking version of this very large SUV. So is this the ultimate combination of performance and a family hauler? Well, let's go ahead and find out. So for 2025, the Suburban continues to be available in a lot of different trim levels. But what Chevy has done is basically changed the overall look of each of those trim levels by giving them unique fascias. So the RST is going to give you, again, the sportiest look. So what we have up here in the front is the full gloss black finish. All the way from side to side, it's going to be completely gloss black. We also have the blacked out bow tie logo right there in the center as well. That is going to integrate in nicely with our updated headlights for 2025. We have the daytime running light and turn signal up there at the top. Another bracket-shaped daytime running light down through here. We have standard projector LEDs on board for both your low and your high beam. And then down at the very bottom, we have LED fog lamps as well. Now, of course, what you probably notice as soon as you walk up to this vehicle is this right here. We have 24-inch alloy wheels. Those are absolutely enormous. Chevy has made this available as an option on the 2025 model, so you can get this. You don't have to get the 24s if you don't want to. You can go for a smaller size, but you get the availability of these massive contrast alloys. I think they look really, really cool. They have definitely a sportier look than the ones that you can get on the High Country as well. And then, of course, you have blacked out Suburban logos through there. A little bit of black trim on the bottom of our mirror, body color on the top. We have our LED turn signal indicator, and as far as the features, you will have standard blind spot monitoring.
Now, like Drew said, this is the ultimate family hauler, and of course that means we're going to have a really big SUV. And overall vehicle length for the Suburban is going to come in at about 225 inches, which is about 15 inches longer than a traditional Tahoe. So certainly that'll give you more space. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But as far as some design cues, all of your window surrounds and roof rails will be blacked out here on the RST model. And then as we head around to the rear design, you're going to see some updates for 2025. Now, in terms of the overall updates, it's not going to change the overall look too much. However, we do have a lot of new elements. We have a wiper integrated underneath of the spoiler, and then this piece right here is new this year. As you can see, it has a nice contrast with the paint color. It's going to be fully gloss black, and that's actually for every version of the Tahoe or Suburban for 2025. We have blacked out Suburban branding. We're also going to have a new taillights this year. They're going to be full LED, which is something that previously wasn't offered on the Suburban. So you have all of the LED components, including your reverse light. Dropping down, we have special RST branding. And then I really like this down at the bottom. We're going to have quad exhaust outlets, and it's going to actually be finished in a nice circle design. Some of the other trim levels will have a squared off look this year. However, I really like the circle look, and we do have a maximum tow rating of 8,200 pounds. Now let's talk safety systems. Of course, for a family vehicle, you want to have all of those as standard equipment. You will find that on the Suburban for 2025, so that will even include things like adaptive cruise control. Now, additionally, for 2025, if you choose an LT trim level or above, you have the option of getting Super Cruise, which is their hands-free highway driving function. Very impressive, but it is going to be an option here on the RST. Let's go ahead and dive into the functional cabin, but first,
if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, onward to the interior. Here's our key fob, typical Chevy key fob. You do have smart entry and remote start, of course. And then getting inside here, there's no sensor, so just press that silver button that will unlock the door. We do have the fixed running boards on this RST as well. All right, now checking out the interior, Big tech improvements. Also, there are many other changes as well, but before we get into those, let's talk about our seats. RST trim levels will come equipped with real leather seats. So as you can see, nice finish to these. This is obviously a black seat, but we do have some color contrast piping as well as some stitching details. It's not quite the same like fancy perforated leather as you get on the high country. And the seats themselves are missing the two-way lumbar support, so they're going to be 10-way power adjusting on this version, but we do still have memory seats. Let's go ahead and climb inside. And now that I'm inside the cabin, let's look at the rest of the materials. Now, RST is kind of more of the mid-level trim level, but it still has very nice cabin. Over here in our door trim, we have a leatherette. We also have this special textured leatherette through this section and through the center, and along the top is all finished in leatherette. As we move to the upper dashboard, again, more leatherette. You have that special perforated version through here. This feels very nice. Through the center section, you're going to have a faux carbon fiber tread to kind of accentuate its athleticism, and then more leatherette and piano black finish down here on our center console. Let's fire it up with our standard push button start. Okay, so let's get into some individual features. We'll begin with our gauge cluster. We have an 11-inch gauge cluster as a full digital setup. It is standard actually on every single trim level, even the base one. So of course, it's here on the RST. You can reconfigure to several different views by using the little button on the steering wheel. Now, in addition to that, we also have the optional 15-inch head-up display, which is really huge and has a ton of the same kind of information as the gauge cluster. Now, pulling back to the steering wheel, we have a nice leather-wrapped steering wheel. Good thick feel in the hand. It is heated as well. And this model is going to be manual tilt and telescoping. So our lower trims are manual adjusting. Your upper trims are power adjusting. All right, let's turn over here to our center console next. When I take a look inside, we actually have some headphones. That's for our rear entertainment system, by the way, if you wanted to know what those look like. But as you can see, plenty of space on board. This isn't the biggest size console that you can get though, because we also have the available sliding console. So the magic trick here, of course, is that you press this button, you see this entire console shift backwards. You get this nice big spot here where you can stick loose objects, and then for your really secret valuables, you can slide them in that top secret drawer there, close it up, and then slide it forward, and nobody is going to be able to access that when the vehicle is powered off. Now, as that slides forward, we'll go ahead and look at this tray right here where we have our wireless phone charging pad. That's on all but the base model. As far as the shifter is concerned, we have a new electronic style one. You do have a paddle shifter on the steering wheel as well. And when we go into reverse, 360-degree camera system is now standard on every trim level of the 2025 Suburban. Definitely happy to see that, because if there's ever a vehicle where this feels like an essential feature, it's certainly going to be a 360 camera on a Suburban, because this is a massive SUV. Now, taking a look at our climate controls next, 3-zone climate is standard equipment. Like we've seen in a few Chevys, like the Traverse, you have the split arrangement. So you still have physical controls all through here for your adjustments, but you can also make adjustments up here in this row of buttons if you want as well. In addition to that, we have 3-stage heated seats. Ventilated seats we don't have on this RST. So let's go ahead and dig into this giant display. So right now we have it filled up with Google Maps. It's a 17.7-inch display. It's really huge. It looks fantastic when you put the full screen Google Maps on here, because the performance, the graphics are absolutely top notch. This is the latest version of Chevy's infotainment system, so it does mean that you have the Google apps built right into the system, but they don't replace Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. You do still have both of those, and they run wirelessly across the entire lineup. The other thing I want to point out is that integrated into the display itself is our volume knob. This does control the 10-speaker Bose sound system on this RST trim level. That's what the upper tier models are going to receive as standard equipment as well. Up top here, we've got the auto-dimming mirror with the rear camera mirror system. This is an available option as well on the RST. Another one of those things that seems very useful on a super large SUV like this. And then lastly here, I'll go ahead and slide back the sunshade for the available panoramic sunroof.
Now let's go ahead and dive into the second row of this Suburban. Now, of course, these will be rows that are utilized in a vehicle like this. So let's discuss space first. 42 inches of legroom and about 39 inches of headroom. Now, it's worth noting that that is going to be exactly the same figures as what you would get in a Tahoe equivalent. So here in the second row, you're not going to get more space, but you'll see that you'll get more space later on. So just wait a second. Now, even with the seat adjusted to Drew's 5'8" driving position, I'm 5'9", there's still plenty of room. My feet can slide up underneath of the seats, and these seats do slide forward and back a very good distance, as well as recline for maximum comfort. Now, as you can see, we have the captain's chair arrangement. You can also get bench seating if you would prefer. That is, of course, a big priority for people in this segment, is having maximum seating capacity. Now, here in the center, we're also going to have quite a few features. 2 cup holders up top. We have our own climate controls, as expected. Heated rear seats are an available option here on the RST model. And then we have 2 USB-C ports, 2 HDMI outlets, and a household outlet as well. Now, why do we have the HDMI ports? Well, that's because we actually have the rear seat entertainment screens. That's an available option here on this RST as well. So as you can see, it's Android based. It has a lot of really cool graphics to it, and that's something that Expedition is no longer offering, a built-in rear seat entertainment system like this. As far as other features on the door trim, it's going to be nicely done. Leather pretty much through most of it. More of that faux carbon fiber, and plenty of door storage for practicality. And let's go ahead and check out the third row. In order to get back here, you just pull this little lever. That's going to fold the seat flat and then allow it to tilt out of the way when you press it again. Now, oh my, we have a absolutely fantastic third row. Now, like I said, the second row doesn't get any bigger, but the third row actually does get a little bit bigger when it comes to space. About 37 inches of leg room, tons of headroom as well. As you can see, this is actually the crack where the Tahoe would kind of start to cut off. So they have all this additional space to work with. There's 3 seats back here, and really it's just incredibly comfortable. I have amazing thigh support. My feet can slide up underneath the seat. We also have cup holders here on the side, as well as a USB-C port and vents coming out of the ceiling. Overall, on our third row rating scale, I'd say this is fit for a king. Walking up to the tailgate, I do want to point out the rear glass does still pop independently. We also do have a power tailgate on LT trims and above, and you also have the new Auto Sense feature as well. So you just walk up to the vehicle and it will go ahead and open for you. Now, as far as the space is concerned, we have just an absolute incredible amount for this Suburban. About 42 cubic feet behind this third row of seats. Yeah, you heard me right. 42 cubic feet. 94 cubic feet if we fold those seats down, which, by the way, we do have an available power folding third row. And then if we fold the second row seats down, which can also easily be done with a press of a button, we're looking at about 145 cubic feet, guys. That is absolutely insane levels of space that you really won't find almost in any other vehicle. So definitely all the people can come along and they can bring their stuff as well. We have a power outlet, and we do even have a little bit of additional space up underneath of here, as well as a spare tire integrated underneath of the bumper. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the Chevy Suburban in the RST trim level. Now, of course, in this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a few different things, as you can see on the screen right now. We'll also be getting our sound level reading so we can see how quiet this vehicle is. But first, we want to go ahead and start by giving you a hard acceleration. There's a quick acceleration up to a little past 60 miles per hour in the 2025 refreshed Chevy Suburban. Now, you could probably tell by that acceleration that we have a big burly V8 under the hood. No engine downsizing on board for 2025 on this model, because we still have the 6.2 liter V8 making 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque on this RST model. Now, this is an optional engine for this RST. It actually comes standard with the 5.3 liter engine in the base configuration of this vehicle. That makes 355 horsepower and 383 pound-feet of torque. Both engines are going to be good. This certainly is going to be the one that's a little bit more fun.
Right, RST is, a performance truck in essence, because you do have that design, and this is where the engine really backs up the design. So you can get it if you just want the looks, but you can also get the added performance with this model, because this is the same 6.2 that you get in the High Country, the top trim level of this lineup. And furthermore, one of the adjustments that Chevy made to the 2025 lineup is the fact that you have a updated diesel engine and expanded availability. So it is offered actually on all the trim levels, including the RST. This is making about 10% more horsepower now from an updated 3-liter turbo diesel inline 6. That takes your total up to 305 horsepower. Torque has also increased quite a bit as well, 495 pound-feet of torque.
And they were also quick to point out the fuel range on this thing is absolutely ridiculous if you choose the diesel option. They said this morning in the presentation, I believe it's over 700 miles on a tank of gas when you opt for that. So especially when you're looking here at the Suburban model, I mean, I feel like most people that buy a vehicle like this are looking to road trip frequently. A 700-mile range is definitely going to be a big benefit. So you may want to look at that as an option, but if you want to stick with the tried and true V8, this certainly is a wonderful mate to this vehicle. It definitely has enough power to get you up to speed quickly, has an amazing V8 growl to it as well. It just really puts a smile on your face. And as I kind of accelerated there as a rolling acceleration. Another thing that I really like about this Suburban is that we have a 10-speed automatic transmission on board. That's for any of the powertrain choices that you choose, the 5.3 or the diesel or the 6.2, all get this, and I'm very happy about that because this is a wonderful transmission. We've experienced it in many other General Motors products, and it really can do a great job of getting you the power when you need it. It actually can drop several gears at a time to get you that maximum power, which is of course important for a big vehicle like this.
And we've been going through all the different options, but one of the things that hasn't been mentioned yet is this kind of interesting option that Chevy makes available for the RST version. It's called the Performance Edition. And what this does is actually turn up the power just a little bit more because you have a performance exhaust to the system. So it takes you to 433 horsepower, 467 pound-feet of torque. You do get kind of a different steering feel, pedal response, Brembo brakes, and this actually comes with the police spec chassis. So it's just kind of a very interesting option, but it is available to you if you want to choose that package.
Now, sitting at this red light, that reminds me that we do have an auto start stop system on board for the Suburban. It's overall a very good auto start stop. When you lift your foot off the brake, it does a great job of starting up, and you feel almost no vibrations or anything like that. So I really don't think you're going to be bothered too much by it, which helps you to get, I guess, better fuel economy, although it's not going to be fantastic as you might expect.
Yeah, of course, it's not the best, but let's talk about it. So we don't have official 2025 ratings. That being said, we did tell you that 2 of the 3 engine options are going to be carryover, so we would anticipate them being the same rating for 2025. That would put us at 16 combined for the Suburban with 4-wheel drive and the 5.3 V8. Going to the 6.2 V8 is going to get you the same fuel economy as well, 16 combined. The diesel, that one's going to be a little bit more of a question of how that's going to land because you do have a little more power than last year. An equivalent powertrain in a Silverado, though, takes you up to 24 miles per gallon combined. So regardless, you should anticipate that you will have the best fuel economy for sure from the diesel.
Yeah, especially that fuel range. I think that kind of tells you everything you need to know if you can get that many miles on a single tank. But I'm sure a question that's been looming over your all's heads is, how does this vehicle ride? Ever since you saw those giant 24s on the outside, you're probably thinking, oh my goodness, is the ride absolutely horrible? And we've been behind the wheel of a ton of different versions of the Tahoe and Suburban for this refresh model, several of which have had the 24s. And I have to say, I'm very happy with what Chevy has done here. Now, 24s are really the largest wheel that you can get in any factory vehicle, honestly. I don't think of anything that is a 25. And it does a surprisingly good job of soaking up the bumps. Part of the reason for that is because we do have an air suspension on board, and we also have magnetic ride control. So those two systems really do help compensate for the gigantic wheel size. Now, a couple things I want to point out, though, is you don't have to opt for these wheels, and I would say that overall the ride quality would be better if you get the smaller wheel sizes, because you can get that with the air suspension and magnetic ride as well. So if you are the utmost focused on ride quality, I think that you could get a smaller wheel size and be a little bit more pleased. But overall, I think it does a great job of soaking up the bumps for most families.
Right, exactly. That's kind of the best way to put it, is this is totally a fine ride quality. I think almost anybody would be satisfied with it. But if you did drive the two back to back, you would notice a slight difference for sure.
And now let's get into our Car Confections Slam Dunk and Airball, which is our favorite and least favorite element about this new Suburban. I'll just go ahead and kick us off by saying our favorite element is what they've done to update this vehicle. It is just such a compelling product. The updates that they made really bring it in line and into the modern times with all the technology and stuff. That was really an area that it may have lacked a little bit before, and now you have some pretty world-class technology inside of here. And I'm really happy also that they didn't change the powertrains. They didn't change things that they didn't need to change. So I'm overall very happy with what they've done on this refresh.
And then for the Airball, that's just going to be the fact that this is not big enough. There really is not enough space in here. No, for the Airball, we're just going to say the price. It's not necessarily out of line with what the competition is. Frankly, it's pretty much the same, but it's still just eye-wateringly expensive. This version here, we don't have the exact number on it because they didn't put the sticker in here, but we're approaching $80,000 with the option packages that we have on board, and that's a number that you can get a lot of luxury SUVs for. Yeah. They won't be this big, but they will have a lot more luxury, especially with the RST. You don't have as much genuine material as you do in the
This one's still missing out on ventilated seats and Super Cruise. And we were roughly calculating in our head. I think this one's probably over $80,000 still, based on the pricing that they've given us. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be an expensive option. I think you probably knew that when you clicked on this video, but certainly not going to be super affordable for the masses. All right, we're speeding up to 55 miles per hour. We have fan speed set on 1, and we'll go ahead and get our sound level reading.
Looks like 59.2 is the number that we have settled in on. Now, this is the part where we remind you guys that you can probably tell we're not in Kentucky. We're in Texas today, and because of that, we can't exactly control the road surfaces that we're driving on. We have no idea where we're at. This actually is a concrete road, which is making more of a humming noise.
Yeah.
Yesterday, in a Tahoe, we were able to get a lower number for sure. They should be roughly equivalent to each other, but you can always check out full ratings at carconfections.com/sound level readings. That's where you're going to see this vehicle, all of its competition, all the different versions as well.
And I will point out, we're going to work hard to try and get one back home in Kentucky so we can get you that official Car Confections sound level reading on our home state Springs.
Lastly here, warranty coverage is the same as always. With your Chevys, you have 3-year 36,000-mile basic warranty, 5-year 60,000-mile powertrain warranty, and 1 complimentary service visit.
Now let's discuss pricing. So we don't have official numbers from Chevrolet at the time of us filming this video. However, we're going to try and ask around and see if we can get those numbers for you. If we can, we will insert them in a box right now. Otherwise, we'll have to just deal with our Car Confections estimate. We estimate that this will start around $60,000 and go all the way up to a little over $90,000 if you get all the options on the High Country model. Now this RST will probably land somewhere within that range. Now, if you're looking to buy a Chevy Suburban or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. Now let's discuss resale and reliability, because buying a car is about more than just the original MSRP. Now we'll talk about resale first. As an economics graduate myself, Drew and I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Chevy Tahoe's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth around 54.7% of original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 20.4%. Now, it's worth noting that that is a pretty good resale value by percentage, especially for this MSRP of vehicle. Additionally, it is going to be a little bit better than other brands such as Ford.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several studies from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you a more holistic picture. In this regard, Chevy is rated very highly. It's actually the second best overall brand.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our reliability and resale data, as well as our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new car is a very big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. And guys, that's going to be it for our in-depth review of the refreshed 2025 Chevy Suburban. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we hope you did, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, not only are you going to get the latest car reviews such as this refreshed Suburban, you're also going to be a part of our family, and there is a lot of fun on this channel that I promise you won't want to miss out on. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.